Knowing exactly what sort of pages to create when you're in the early days of your content marketing can be really hard. So in today's video, we're gonna be digging into 3 types of pages that an early stage SaaS company should focus on when it comes to starting out their content marketing efforts. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a clear understanding of 3 types of pages that you can use to start actually getting traffic while also getting conversions for your business. Digging right in, the first type of page that I recommend you create when you're in the early days of your SaaS's content marketing efforts is alternative pages. So I've gone over alternative pages on this channel before, and you can check out that video after you watch this one. What you're essentially doing in this situation is you're creating a series of content that will target the other brand phrases of competitors in your space. So if, for example, you were selling a CRM, you might target things like Salesforce Alternative or Pipedrive Alternative or Zoho Alternative. And essentially what you're looking for are the sorts of phrases that people are looking for when they are evaluating different CRM solutions and trying to find the best one for their business. The reason why these particular phrases are so effective is because they are often searched for whenever it comes to a high ticket purchase item like a SaaS tool such as a CRM. And I'll show you an example as I jump into my computer here in which we can actually look at the example of an email marketing solution like Email Octopus. When I search for Email Octopus Alternative, I can see one of their competitors taking this exact strategy. On the left-hand side below the G2 response, you can see that EasySendy has a page on this, and so does BigMailer.io. And as I click into these pages, I can zoom in here, and what I can see is that EasySendy is trying to position themselves as an Email Octopus alternative. And what I can do is I can search on this phrase and look at where EasySendy is referencing Email Octopus, as well as how they're comparing it. So this is a very standard alternatives page. Pretty much you're gonna have a header section in which you're gonna break down some sort of reference to your company being the alternative to your competitor. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna provide some sort of breakdown feature comparison of exactly why your product is better than your competitor. In the case where you're struggling to think about ways that your product is better than your competitors, well, you might have some work to do on your product side of things. But that said, what you can also do is you can create very specific definitions that your product qualifies for that your competitor doesn't. That can be a clever way in terms of positioning the tables to work for you. But as you work your way through this page, what you're seeing is essentially that there's gotta be a decent amount of content on the page. You need to have a couple different headers and different types of headers, and then you're gonna want to also break down things like comparing reviews and more objective ways that people might be evaluating solutions. But what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna create this for a number of your competitors' pages. Not just one, but probably the 5 or 7 biggest competitors in your space. And I promise you that this will get you traffic because I've done it in the last 6 months alone for the business I work for. And you'll see the same approach taken with BigMailer here. So on the right-hand side, you can actually see that BigMailer has their compare pages of BigMailer versus SendGrid, Mailgun, Email Octopus, Sendy, and MailChimp. And then you'll also see all the specifics as to what makes BigMailer different than their competitor, in this case, Email Octopus. So how do you go about creating this first type of page? It's actually not as hard as you think. All you need to do is create a free account to your competitor's site and then dig around the site and do some product research. In the case where you can't create a free account, you can always try to learn more from their marketing pages and try to compare as honestly as possible your product and their product. And in the case where you can even get a paid account or you just want to pay them for a month in order to do a truly thorough deep dive of their platform, that can be a great way for you to do market research as well. But what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna essentially wanna create a Google Sheet or an Excel document where you're gonna list out all the key features and then map out exactly what's going to go on this alternatives page. When you're ready, what I recommend is that you create a master hub page for where all of your alternative pages are going to live. And then what you're gonna wanna do is then create the sub pages to that master page. In this way, you're going to have a hub page that's going to talk about all the very unique things that your product does, followed by all of these spokes that are going to connect to your hub that are all the alternative pages, all right? So once you've created that page, that leads us to the second type of page that you're going to want to create for your early stage SaaS business. Before we dig into that, if you're finding this video helpful so far, hit that like button below to help other SaaS marketers find this video too. All right, so the next sort of page that you're going to want to create is a series page. And these are the sorts of pages in which you identify some sort of content series that you can create at scale. What's really important here is that you're thinking about how you can use programmatic SEO or aspects of programmatic SEO in order to create a ton of pages at once. An easy example to show you this is going to be looking at Banner Bear. I've covered Banner Bear on this channel before. They're doing great right now. They're run by an indie hacker who's recently been scaling up his business, and he's doing over 300K in ARR. So as we take a look at Banner Bear here, what I'm gonna show you is how they're using series in order to scale their content marketing. Remember, this is run by one guy for the most part. He's obviously scaling out his team these days, but for the most part, he has done all of the marketing himself. And what you can see here in the top are the things that he's created in terms of series. So he's got something around image generation API, multi-image generation API, video generation API, and so on. And these are all landing pages that probably follow a very similar structure. They've got a key header. They dig into exactly how he addresses this particular problem. They even give an example so that you're able to play around with his actual tool. And then what he does is he essentially creates this over and over again. Here we've got the multi-image API. And he takes this same approach here, except this time covering multi-images. So this sort of approach is really powerful for a number of reasons. The first reason is if you're using a website builder like a Webflow, you can actually create a collection in which you can reuse that collection and then create a ton of different pages using the same base layout like this. So that's essentially more or less what he's probably doing to some extent on this page for Banner Bear. And you're able to just spin up all of these different phrases. And the reason why that's valuable is because in the case where I just want to go ahead and search that on Google, I can see that he's probably ranking somewhere on the page. You can see right here, he's ranking around in the middle to the end of page 1, just for this sort of generic page that he's come up with. And you'll see this tactic used by a lot of SaaS businesses. Just to show you another example, you can take a look at a company like Venngage, in which if you go to Venngage and you go to their footer, you can see all their different templates as well as Venngage versus everyone. So those are those alternative pages. And they're essentially just repeating this sort of process over and over again with their template pages, in which what they've done is they've thought about how they can integrate their product into a series of templatized pages. In this case, we've got infographic templates, but we've also got different types of infographics within that, as well as presentations, business cards, reports, human resources, and things like that. Tons of companies take this approach. And the reason why is because it just works. It gets you a ton of pages. It allows you to really nest all of these pages as well. And you don't have to focus as much in terms of the content quality because you're able to just create these pages in bulk and then see what actually ranks and then what doesn't as well. Just to really hit this point home, you can even take a look at a massive site like Canva, in which in this case, if you just go to their design section of their site, you can see all the different categories in which they are taking this sort of templatized approach. You can click on logos, and from here you've got a logos landing page in which they're working in their product as well as creating all these different pages for queries around logos. And they take this approach over and over again. So just to recap before we head into the third type of page you can create when you're in your early days of content marketing, in this stage what you're looking for is you're looking for phrases like templates or any sort of core page where you can create a collection and then repurpose that collection format over and over again. One of the easiest ways to figure out the sort of content to create is to look for particular phrases in your space and then add the word like examples, templates, quizzes, or things like that. All right, so we've come a long way and we now are on to our third type of content. For this particular type of content, what you're gonna wanna create is how to cancel X content. The reason why you're gonna wanna create this content is because you're gonna be tackling the traffic that is searching to learn about how they can cancel your competitors. So it's a variant of the first idea where you were tackling the alternative phrases, but now you're gonna tackle directly what happens when people are searching for how exactly they can cancel a competitor of yours. The reason why this is so important in the early days is because oftentimes you wanna get quick wins and high intent in terms of your early efforts in your content marketing. And this is some of the highest intent you can get. Just think about it. If somebody's hopping onto Google and searching how to cancel XYZ competitor of yours, then they're probably pretty mad with or dissatisfied with your competitor, and they're more than likely to actually want to try out your software. So in this case, as the example, I'm gonna look for how to cancel Salesforce, just like my first example with the CRMs. I'm gonna remove salesforce.com from the search results. And what I can see is that there are a few different pages around this content. You can see that Zendesk has created a post on how to cancel your CRM. So if I just look at this, you can see that this person from the growth team of Zendesk is essentially talking about all the different ways that you can cancel your CRM. So whether that's Salesforce, Copper, Pipedrive, these are all competitors to Zendesk. So this is just intelligent content marketing, because what this growth associate is doing at Zendesk is he's targeting the people that are not satisfied with the competitors and essentially landing them onto their website, where from here, what I might do is I might learn a little bit more about Zendesk, where I might click into starting a new trial and so on. So this is really effective targeting, because what they're doing is they're getting some of the most dissatisfied customers of their competitors and directing that traffic away. The reason why this works so well is because oftentimes competitors will nest the ways to cancel their product because they don't want those cancellations, or they'll have it in a support center that's not actually SEO optimized, and so it's a really easy term to actually chase after. And as a bonus tip for sticking around from today's video, what you can also do is you can look at what the people also ask phrases are around your competitors when you're searching for them. So what I mean by that is if I go back into my search results here for how to cancel Salesforce, you can see there's some other questions like how to cancel FormStack, how to cancel Copper CRM, and I can just expand these out. And then right here, I've got more phrases that I can create content marketing around. So what I might do in that situation is I might search for something like how to cancel Pipedrive, and then expand out all of the different people also ask phrases, see what's relevant for that particular piece of content marketing, and then create a piece of content marketing that answers the key people also ask questions that people are typing in. Things like, how do I cancel my Pipedrive subscription? Or how long is the Pipedrive free trial? How do I delete a company from Pipedrive? And so on. Hopefully you got value out of this video and that you're able to win over some of that high intent search traffic that you need right now for your business. In the case where you've got value out of this video, hit that like button below, subscribe for more content like this to learn the exact tactics that you can use to grow your website's traffic and grow your business along the way. If you want to learn exactly how Zapier went from zero to something through content marketing, check out my video over here that covers exactly what strategies they used.